Now, the sixth of the 6 elements of personal choice that you need to make up your personal mindset, you need to establish your personal foundation. The final one is action. Now, action I leave for the last, even though it's not the least important. They're all up there on their own equal footing, with this one distinction when it comes to action and a bias for action. With purpose, belief, vision, gratitude, and forgiveness, the first 5, you can do all of those in your head. It doesn't require anything external, really, to get something moving. Now, the way I teach them, I get people building momentum toward action because they're actually writing things down, typing them out, that sort of thing. But you could do all 5 of those in your head. And if all you're doing is work in your head, how much is actually happening in the real world? Not much, if any. So action and a bias for action is a very, very important thing, and it's critical to actually taking all the work you've done and moving it into translation into the real world. So what we do with action, one, you've got to recognize, do you have a bias for action or not? Do you have a tendency to get an idea, rush out, and you're headlong into it before you realize what it is you're even supposed to be doing? That's okay. That's a good thing. Action may not be your problem. If getting into action, though, is a problem for you, if you spend a lot of time in the kind of intellectual pursuits of trying to figure everything out all the way through. I've spent a lot of my career working with engineers, electrical, mechanical engineers, pharmaceutical engineers, chemical engineers, and God bless all of the engineers. I love them. I don't know what our world would be like without them. But one of my good friends who's an engineering manager taught me a phrase that I've carried with me for a while, and he says that at some point in the project, you just have to shoot the engineer. And what he means by that is you can only intellectually beat things to death for so long before you have to do something, or nothing will ever get done. That's what we've got to get after. We've got to make things happen. So as you get in and you've started to establish even just a few things, okay, I'm getting into my purpose. I've aligned my belief with it. I have a crystal clear vision of where I want to go, or at least as clear as I can get. I'm feeling grateful. I've given the forgiveness issue over, and I know what I'm doing now, and I've got those things clear. Now you've got to actually go do something. So sit down and make just a quick list. If I know what my end result is, write it down. What's it look like? And then look at where you're at right now. Okay, that's where I want to go. Here's where I am. What do I have to do now? And just start mapping some of those steps back. Big, huge steps. You don't have to be the little minutia. You're not going to control that most of the time anyway. But the big steps as far as how to get there. You don't have to have every last little step planned out before you take the first one. Hell, you won't even know what the second step is until you've taken the first step. Taking the first step might change everything else that's in front of you. So it's about taking that first step. I've heard the example, I don't know how many different times. The most recent person was Jack Canfield talking about driving through the night and your headlights only go about 200 feet in front of you. But you could drive from LA to New York in pitch black just by going that 200 feet at a time. That's the concept. Just get moving. Decide what that first step is that's going to be in the general direction of your goal. Take that first step. Make it a list. If you're like me, I like to make lists and cross things off. Heck, if I've gotten through a day to about 2 o'clock in the afternoon and realized I don't have my list, I'll sit down and make a list of all the things, including the stuff I've already done, just so I can cross it off. That's how ate up I am. But the point is, you can do the same thing. Very simple list, and just do the first one. And if it's a big, huge goal, just do something every day. Just build a little bit of momentum. Because after the course of a week, you'll look back and go, hey, look, I've done 7 things to get toward my goal. And that'll make you feel good, and it'll push you further. And then maybe you'll get 10 done the next week, and maybe 15 the next. Maybe only 1 or 2, but they'll be big things. But the point is, you're moving forward. Get something down on paper. Understand the general direction of where it is you've got to go, and take your first step. Because after the first one, then you can take the second. Then you can take the third. Then you can take the fourth. And you can keep on moving, and before long, you've accomplished that goal, you've passed it, and you're moving on to bigger and better things. You can do this.